back. No special introduction. It's another episode of the Randy Wilson podcast. This is episode 67, and I have none other than Chelsea Lemore Monroe.
Yes, hello.
We're going to get into that name. But before we get started, thank you guys for checking out the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notifications button. And while we're supporting Spotify, Google, and all them other platforms, can you please go over to randywilsonpodcast.com? Show me some love, okay? That's where we're going to put the focus at today. Phenomenal guest on the show today. Super excited. Been really wanting to have this conversation for a while with Chelsea Lemore, multimedia personality. You may be familiar with her from Single in the City podcast, which is one of the most popular podcasts in the city of Richmond. She is also a media personality, has been a media personality with iPower. And even though they're going through COVID and all that stuff, Ray says that is the girl that I'm calling for everything. So look, like, I'm sitting there like, wow, that really speaks to how good she is, because she is in high demand in handling events that only Chelsea Lemore Monroe fans want her to host. And so event host, socialite, entrepreneur, I could keep going, but she's episode 67, and I'm really happy to have you, Chelsea. Single in the City podcast. Got some questions about that. You're everywhere. You're doing a phenomenal job at just building your brand through COVID, through the pandemic. Virginia State alumni, if I'm correct.
Yes.
I also went there, didn't graduate from there, but I tried to. I shouldn't
have. Look, I had my degree on layaway. It's all good. Did a little bit here, and a little bit there. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly how I pulled mine together too. But thanks for having. I'm happy to have you on the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you. I am honored to be on the show. I'm super excited. You're doing your thing as well, so let's do it. I'm excited.
Thank you. Hey, that's really what it's about. I got some things I can share with you in regard to just feedback that I've heard about your show outside of my own knowledge. Great.
Oh, shit, I'm nervous.
Say it again.
I said, oh, shit, I'm nervous.
No. I'll share it from you off the gate. I was talking to, this is going to be a different podcast from my audience, because we're really just going to talk. When I'm podcasting with another podcaster, yeah, we're going to hit all the benchmarks. We're going to make sure we know what's going on in Lamoreland and how you can go over there and shop and people are we're going to talk about her, but we're going to just talk. I feel like I naturally feel that vibe when talking to another podcaster about things. But, let's just start right there. I was talking to Creative Nation. You familiar with Creative Nation at a 757?
Mm-hmm.
Doe?
I don't.
Well, they know you, okay? And when they were looking to get with podcasters in the 804, they're phenomenal. They're a phenomenal brand.
I know who they are.
Let me plug Creative Nation. They was responsible for Young Money Yon's first project. They played a very pivotal role with Dominique the Diva when she transitioned, from the 757.
That's my girl, another VSU alumni.
Yeah, they've been quietly and at the same time in the forefront of a lot of things in the 757, and they know your show. They I just recently did an interview with Michael J. Muhammad, big activist out of the 757, and when they were speaking with me, they said that our shows were the shows they felt like would be the best in helping, build his platform. So I was like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, I was honored to be in a conversation with you, Chelsea.
Oh, thank you.
Check out Creative Nation for sure, though.
Yeah, I know exactly who they are. I just don't necessarily know the faces behind the brand. But sometimes, that brand recognition is important. You don't always have to know the faces behind it, but I know the work they do. Yeah.
Phenomenal work. So, Chelsea, check this out. One of the things I was curious in talking to you about, we're going to talk about Single in the City, but before we get there, I'm looking at your merch, and my question is, have you ever marketed your merch toward men? Do men wear Single in the City shirts?
I have some ideas for men's stuff. Mm-hmm. To be honest, when I launched my merch, I was kind of more so thinking about my target audience and my main listenership. Mm-hmm. I have about 89% of listeners every week who are women. So I just wanted to make sure that I touched like the ladies, because the ladies was who the show was for at first, and then it became the playbook for the guys. But I definitely am looking to expand my merch for men. But I mean, I had to take care of my ladies first.
Nah, I mean, I figured, and maybe we can help each other in that way, because 65% of my following is men.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish I could have a better balance as well. And so, but when I looked at your merch, the first question I asked myself was, if I was a single guy, would I feel comfortable wearing the merch? Because it is unisex.
Probably. I'm going to be completely honest with you. Probably not. And I didn't have it in mind. Well, also my podcast is also LGBTQ friendly. Yeah. So there are some gay men that I know wanted to wear the merch. Yeah. But I also know like sometimes women wear their singleness as a badge of honor, especially if you're just getting out of a relationship and you finally get your groove back. Yeah. You're like, you know what? Boom. But I also think that podcast merchandise is more so about brand loyalty than it is about exactly what it says. And so just like you have a Richmond's own shirt on, like you love the person that created the shirt and you're like, yo, this is dope. Yeah. So you get behind that brand loyalty. So it's more so about creating, I wanted my first podcast merch launch to be like a signature collection of like just the logo.
Got you. Nah.
There's some stuff coming.
I believe it. You're a multimedia personality. You're a serial entrepreneur. I'm sure that you have a lot of things coming. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I've enjoyed listening to your show. And it now appears that is Honeybee a staple on your show?
So I have something called a resident bartender for my show. So every bartender serves a tenure. It is now Honey's tenure. And so usually it's about a year. And I'm always willing to extend it. But I find that a way to keep the show fresh, especially considering since I started the show, I got married. So I think it's always good to keep like a single ear to the street. I'm not that far removed from the single streets, but I like to keep something fresh. A woman that is single or a single mom. Honey's our first parent that's been a bartender. I want to keep a fresh perspective of what it's like to be a Black woman or a Black person that's single. Because one thing that people don't really realize, and I really stress, is that Single in the City is for expressing the difference in dating for Black women.
Say that one more time, please.
Single in the City is about the unique experience of dating and relationships for Black women.
Okay.
In particular, women of color. And if, white women want to listen, awesome. I'm not saying white women can't listen, but it's really a place for Black women to really be able to have open conversations about dating, because dating is very different for us. I always say, like, we are one of the only races of women that have to question if our men are attracted to us. So that creates a very unique perspective. And we also, as a people, face a trauma that also rolls over into relationships. So it's important for us to have that space to talk about why dating for Black people and Black women are different than it is just putting it in this big bubble of dating.
Okay, go back to that. You said that you feel that.
I know I shook the table with that one, huh?
I mean, so you're saying that you feel that Black women are the only race of women that have to feel.
Okay, so anything that I say is not a monolith. I know that there are Black men.
Yeah, it's a perspective.
That love and value.
Trust me, my audience ain't that serious. My audience ain't that serious.
Prefer Black women. But what I'm saying is that this is not a conversation that I just like randomly decided to talk about. It became a reoccurring theme on my show where we were talking and we were like, you see a fine man, he's Black, he got a good job and he's looking good. You question if he's attracted to you because he probably like white girls, he likes Spanish girls. And when they come to you, you are actually shocked. So we have to question sometimes if our own men are attracted to us or want us. And so it's a really uncomfortable conversation to have, but it is a very honest conversation that whether it is a reality that we feel.
That's interesting though. I swear, like, I ain't been single in a long time, but I'll tell you this. When I was out in them streets,
How long ago was it?
when I was out there, like I never thought I gotta be careful with you. I get caught up in having some conversations. Let me say this. I'll say this with me. I was probably the opposite. Like I've always been pretty confident in who I am, but I have not been a person in my life. And this may be a vulnerable moment of exposing my flaws. I'm cool with that. But I've never been like overly confident in approaching women.
Mm-hmm. A lot of men
without feeling there was like a mutual thing. Like I need to instinctually know
you ain't doing no cold calls. It's got to be a warm situation.
No. You know why? Because in reverse, I can also say that I think women love sometimes Black women love. I didn't want to say Black women. I think women, period, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. I think women love. I mean, like it's easy to turn the hand and like, you know what I'm saying? Like back up. It's almost like you expect us to come a game. Mm-hmm. And so you already prepared to turn it away. It's like,
yes and no.
I don't really come a game. I don't come with no game. When I met
but
my
you know,
wife,
a woman does keep a man that doesn't come.
We met drinking a glass of moonshine, and we went to McDonald's, and I offered her water with a drink because I was intentionally letting her know I was broke off the gate, cheap, straight up. You know what I'm saying? Like I try to be as transparent as possible.
Yeah,
like,
but women appreciate that.
Oh, that's game.
That's game. Women do it. Like this is the thing. Like, you know, I say this all the time. I think that men have this idea of what a woman wants and this ideal way of approaching. But the number one thing that women want is consistency, and the second is honesty. And so, if you're consistent and you're honest, we can handle. And we have. It's like, give us the choice. Like, don't introduce us to something that isn't really you. Give us a choice to say, okay, he may be broke now, but I see the potential and keep it moving. Because more than likely, women date for potential. They will date a man based on potential, where men date for what you are right now. Yeah. And so just being honest, and women respond to that, you know?
That's interesting. Well, listen, y'all got to go check out Sex in the City. She just gave you a little bit right there. I mean, you could.
We get ratchet too.
Oh, wow. I mean, it's hilarious. Some of the conversations is hilarious. Like it's it's funny, man.
It's a good time.
So like, and that's part of why I enjoy it, because it's entertaining, but at the same time, it's real, and it's always interesting to hear perspectives of other people and their relationships, regardless if you're single or married. Because quite frankly, being a married guy, listening to some of those conversations can also contribute to keeping things fresh in your marriage. You know what I'm saying? You learn all the new kinky, funky stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Period.
So, yeah. Hey, kudos to you. I think that one of the things that it appears to me that you do very well, and this is something I don't do at all, okay. Is that in how you manage your public life, you're able to very complimentary, like embrace that in your relationship, and that to me just complements your brand. You know, you're married, but you have a Single in the City podcast or a show, and people can identify with you all the way around and how you've branded yourself. I mean,
oh, well, thank you.
I think it's very impressive. I don't bring my wife and children and family I keep it all separate, just because I don't want to deal with any public issues because of how private and protective I am. You know, I don't even want to give you a chance to talk some shit, because I might get pissed off, and then you just, you know, you see it's another side. I don't want to do that.
And it becomes a Randy Wilson smackdown.
She don't even care, but you know, she's like, go do your thing. And
my wife don't care either.
Yeah.
I will say, well, thank you for that. I will definitely say, I think what kind of creates the dynamic is I created the show as a single woman. And so most people don't know is that I met my wife and we got married within 90 days. So there wasn't that much room for, like, I was like, when you met me, I was doing this. So has my perspective, have some of the things, I mean, I still get in trouble from time to time for some of the things that I say on the show, but my perspective has shifted a little bit. And I feel like my show is based so much upon, and it was started so much upon my personal life, that it's kind of hard to even separate the two sometimes. like so I wish that it wasn't that way sometimes because I'm like, I don't want to go. Like I know my wife does. Yeah. But you have the luxury of being able to talk about other people. You aren't always the focus. Yeah. But I mean, like if something happens, they're like, well, where your wife been? Or where, because I talk about it and the show is so heavily involved with like single in the city is me. There is no like one without the other.
Yeah.
There is. I mean, I couldn't even at this point, I couldn't imagine my life without it.
Yeah.
So
hey, I giving you, I'm all about, giving a lot of respect and flowers, and I think you guys are a beautiful couple. I really do. I think you're a beautiful
thank
couple.
you.
I enjoy watching your story and watching your posts and watching y'all dance, and it's I see the I don't know. I mean, my background's in therapy and clinical psychology, and so I see the dynamic in your relationship, in where you bring this dynamic personality, and she brings very slight humor to the show in a way that is very complimentary. It is. So,
you're spot on. You are spot on.
I enjoy it. I mean, I'm just, I just be watching what people do. So Chelsea, one of the things that I mentioned at the beginning of the show that really excite me in talking to you is that you're another podcaster.
Yes.
And so I just want to spend a little bit of time on that. I want to talk about podcasting a little bit.
I love podcasting.
Yeah, I mean, you've done as phenomenal of a job as anybody that I've seen in this region with your show. What do you speak to the ingredients that has made Single in the City a success? If you had to say, this, and this, obviously consistency has been a big part of it.
I was going to say the number one thing is consistency.
Yeah.
You
like got 100 plus shows right now, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, I think I'm at 137.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I do a weekly podcast. I would definitely say the number one thing is consistency. And I think sometimes, especially now, I will say I know for a fact there was a huge surge in podcasting once the pandemic started. And so a lot of people were discouraged about starting because they're like, oh, it's oversaturated. Oh, I'm like, yo, it's 1 million something podcasts. Do you think 1 million something people are being consistent? And so people look for consistency. I know that on the Tuesday, I like for the read to drop. On Thursday, the Casey Crew drops. And then every day, a podcast I love to listen to is The Breakfast Club because it gives me something, it keeps me sharp. Yeah. And they take the music out of it. Yeah. But without the consistency of knowing, I have my own podcast schedule in my head because I know it's coming. So you have to think about it like that. Like you have to be consistent. And then all of those other people, they're going to weed themselves out. And you also need to think about, when I started, I wasn't thinking about, I want to be this big podcaster. And I was like, I want it to be perfect. And if I was going to go back and change it, it's funny, over the pandemic when I was cleaning up some stuff. And my first, I would say 3 or 4 shows, I didn't have an intro. I didn't have all of these bells and whistles. I mean, I have a studio now, but I didn't have a studio then. I was renting out a studio. And it's consistency and just get started. That's the number one thing I tell people is to get started. You can perfect it along the way. You will learn new techniques. You will get better, but just get started.
Yeah.
Get started, consistency, and get started.
I think one of the beautiful things about the podcast community is that you don't run into people who are not willing to give you advice or support. It's not like rap. It's not like there's no beef. It's really collaborative, and I've never met anyone who was discouraging or negative or wouldn't give me some advice in regards to how to be better. So consistency obviously has been key for you. What have been some of the biggest learning experiences that you've had through the journey? Things that you've learned that I'll give you an example. For me, one of the things that I still don't do it all the time, but there are times where I feel like, and this may be strong to some people, but if you decide to be on the podcast, I tend to think that it's because you want to. So I don't, I sometimes with certain people, I feel like I got to spend time with them, confirming that they're comfortable with what's going to be discussed, because is there anything, because I really don't desire to spend time editing your conversation. So do we need to sign a waiver? Do we need to? Do we need to? Is it that serious? Because be mindful of what you're going to say,
Yeah.
Otherwise, you may not need to be on the podcast,
Well, what I will say about that, and I guess that kind of lends to, I could agree with that. I do send out before guests come on. Well, I have 137 episodes that you can reference, and I have a few guests coming up that I have sought after, but I've been blessed that all of the guests that I've had, like you said, are guests that are coming to me. Mm-hmm. And so, when you submit to be on the show, I assume that you know what type of show we are. We talk about sex. We talk about all different kind of things. I do send out what to expect, do's and don'ts. I don't really have that many don'ts. It's more so like you can curse, you can do X, Y, and Z. I still have alcohol left on the bar from when we recorded the other day. I don't desire editing either, but I will say I have had a few guests that have like called me the next day and like, yo, I was wilding, because it gets very easy. So my first studio, it was a very small studio. I was using CNR Studios and they were amazing. If you were looking to start a podcast, I would recommend going to CNR Studios. They set it up perfectly for me. So we had like a little card table set up, and you get really comfortable. Guests forget that they are on a podcast. And now my studio is in my home. So they really get comfortable because we hang out and have drinks upstairs before we come down to the basement. But I have had guests that have called and said, yo, I was wilding on the show. Can you take X, Y, and Z out? And I have no problem. And so many of like my other podcasting friends, I'm not even gonna say podcasting friends in the industry who are about that like hot moment, about that teaser. They're like, hell no. If they said something good, then you keep it. But I'm not about making people uncomfortable. I don't want anyone to leave Single in the City feeling like they got okie dokes or I lured them into something. Now, if you ask me to remove something petty as hell, nah, because post-production is a mess. Yeah. It's awful, especially when like you create a topical podcast. My podcast is topical. We have a segment called The Scroll where we talk about where relationships, like hot topics and relationships where they collide. So I don't have a week or 2 weeks. I record on Fridays. My podcast is out on Tuesday. So I don't have a lot of time in between. But yeah, that's a lesson that I learned along the way, is that I treat people, I'm an open book, but everyone may not be that comfortable. And some people, I am very, as you are, acclimated to being behind the mic. A lot of people aren't. And I try to take that into consideration. So what I've learned is to extend the grace that I would want if I wasn't a trained media professional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though this girl.
It's frustrating. It's frustrating. I think I've got to a place of where I've got comfortable at handling that now. I've just had my experiences where it's been frustrating. Some of the pieces that people want you to take out occasionally are the things that people really need to hear.
Exactly. But also let people know if it's not something that can be a clean edit, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Like if it's not something that can just, like you said, like a phrase that you don't want to say. If it's like a segment of the show, I literally cannot take it out. But yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you the thing right now, something just happened that's bothering me right now because I had a gain down too low. It's pissing me off. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like,
Oh, you know what? I just thought of one a lesson that I learned the hard way. I'm not gonna say the hard way. That I'm a person, like I said, I'm big on consistency. So I have a very quick turnaround on the show. And I had a show that I didn't feel that great about. I finished rapping and I was like, that was okay. And so I was torn between, should I post it or should I just end up skipping a week? And I hate skipping a week. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes I have shows in the pocket, but for the most part, I like to keep them fresh. And so I posted the show, even though I didn't feel 100% comfortable. And when shows are amazing, every week I know I'm going to get, DMs or whatever, and people saying it's funny or whatever. But this particular show, I didn't really get that much feedback. And the feedback that I did get was like, yeah, this show was interesting. Or, and I was like, you know what? Lesson learned. Like all content, just like all money ain't good money, all content isn't good content. And yes, you want to be consistent, but you also need to be concerned about the quality, you know? So I have scrapped a few shows before. People have been on the show and they're like, where's my episode? But I kind of managed the expectation that it's not going to come out. I'm going to say, hey, we had some issues with the show, or I would be open to re-recording with you. Maybe we can, start fresh. But a lesson that I learned is if I don't feel 100% great about it, if I don't laugh when I hear it, if I don't feel good when I press end on recording, it ain't going up. Sometimes I know 20 minutes in that it's not going up.
Got you. This is a big question for me right here. Mm-hmm. This will be my last one in this area. How do you kindly, gently, respectfully turn away guests?
Always awkward. It depends on the reason.
Do you manage your email? Do you manage it? I stopped doing that.
I manage my email.
I stopped managing my podcast emails, so I didn't have to deal with that.
I figured I got something in the third person. I said, oh, okay. I manage my email.
Sometimes it is me. Sometimes it is me. But it's a way of me hiding behind it. Right. Truthfully. Yeah. Sometimes
I manage my email, how I handle. So there's two things. Sometimes I genuinely like the request list. Like you can go on my website, chelsealemore.com, and request to be a guest on the show. And the list can be a bit extensive.
Tell them one more time.
Chelsea Lemore, LEMORE.com. And click the be a guest request. And so the it's kind of thick in there, so I tried to plan my show 2 to 3 months out. Doesn't always happen. And so sometimes I kind of like skim through. So sometimes I'll see people and they say, I had somebody maybe 2 weeks ago say, I submitted to be a guest on the show November. You don't want me on there. And I'm like, girl, resend it. I'm so sorry. But how I would tell someone, I have had to tell someone that I felt wasn't a great match for the show. Meaning, I know you love the show, but you don't like to talk, sis. Mm-hmm. You're a shy person. And so I just kind of said, like, I don't think that my show would be, I'm like, are you ready for this? This is a wild ride. They're like, I'm nervous. I'm like, you know what? Hit me up when you are over those nerves. Or I just go ahead and tell them that I just don't think that it's necessarily a great match. I've never turned anyone away because of like, you don't have enough followers. I don't believe in that. For my show, I don't believe in that. Primarily because something that is like a part of the thread of everyone's life, which is relationships, you could have valuable information, be hilarious, and have a story to share, and you have 10 followers. Followers aren't that important to me in that, but I have had to turn some people down politely in that way. I just kind of say, like, look, let me know when you're not nervous, or I don't think that this is a good fit for a lot of times people want to like align and talk about their brands or whatever on the show, which I don't mind. But if it's something that's like random, that doesn't really necessarily pertain to the show, or it would be awkward, where it's like, clearly you're just here to plug your shit. Yeah. I'm like, my listeners really aren't interested in custom made Q-tips.
Yeah. I because I feel like this is good for me. It's good perspective. It helps me understand what other people are doing. And some of your listeners may be listening to me for the first time and vice versa, right? So I'm like, on my side, like, I'm the same with you. I mean, like, I talk to a lot of artists, and a lot of artists mumble. So therefore their conversation's lame. I mean, they're not good communicators, right? And so I think about that sometimes. I catch myself doing a lot of life coaching on the side from the podcast, like conversation development. I catch that, but I'm invested in talking to people who see the value in conversation and maximizing that. So like, let's not do a podcast and then you want to be on the podcast, but you don't want to do anything with it. What's the point?
Exactly.
You're not contributing at all at pushing this product so that your audience can hear you. Mm-hmm. All my podcasts are about other people. I'm not focusing on myself. Mm-hmm. So
well, here's another thing that I do. I usually, because what made me think about it is you were saying you get a lot of artists. Mm-hmm. And because I work for the radio station, I get a lot of artists as well. And I just let them know, like, hey, my podcast or what I'm doing, I don't think that this is a great avenue for you because we do a lot of more lifestyle interviews. Mm-hmm. But why don't you hit up this person? Check out this podcast. Yeah. My boss probably can't stand me because I send all the rappers to him. But that's his job. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's not my job. I can't get you on the radio. Yeah. Did you hear that? I cannot get you on the radio.
That's funny. That's funny.
I can't.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. People can take it for what they want to take it, but like if you ain't got a project coming, or if you ain't got something coming, if you ain't got a story to tell, I mean, look, I'm not gonna lie. You got to be somewhat vibrant. To me,
yes,
you got to be and if not, I mean, we can talk all you want, but it ain't gonna make good for a podcast.
But that's what podcasting is storytelling.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what people fail to realize. And I already know sometimes, like on my website, it says, why would you be a great guest? In the moment you use the term interview, I'm already like, for my show, because I have a panel style show, I'm already like, because I don't interview. I don't interview. Even when I'm at the station and artists come, I don't interview. I have a conversation that happens to be recorded. Yeah. So when you come into it with the perspective of an interview, you're expecting a Q&A, and I'm going to ask you questions. And oftentimes I don't even tell my guests what we're going to talk about. I used to tell them. That's a lesson that I learned. I used to send out, what to expect. And I would give them a preliminary topics that we would discuss. And then I realized that they were very rehearsed, and they would have like a little bit joke that they thought would be funny. And it was coming off very fake as fuck. I don't know if you guys on your show.
Yeah, it's wide open. No paperwork is signed here. This is.
And so I just realized the less I tell you, the more relaxed you're going to be. But you have to be willing to engage and have a conversation. Podcasting, there is no music in between. Like what has to hold their conversation is. What has to hold their attention is the conversation. And if you're not willing to offer that, then what are we doing?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. Keep it moving.
Are we here?
Keep it moving. So Chelsea Lemore. Lemore Monroe. I mean, you can't say Lemore without your lips coming together. It's something. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, tell me the truth. Is this a stage name, or is this your real name?
It is a combination of the two.
It's fancy.
Thank you.
So it's Chelsea Moore.
No, it's not actually. My family's last name is Macklemore.
Oh, okay.
So let me just
You added some French to it. I feel like y'all.
My family's last name is Macklemore. My mother's maiden name is Macklemore. So my entire family is Macklemore. And so when I was on air, when I was about to go on air for the radio station, I was like, what is my name going to be? I don't know what my name's going to be. And so I wanted something that was authentic to me. I've never really loved my first name. I've always felt like Chelsea is beige paint. Like, especially, I went to a predominantly white school. I was the only Black Chelsea there.
Where are you from, Chelsea?
I am from Chesterfield. I'm from here, Richmond.
Oh, okay. Where'd you go to high school at?
Monacan.
Oh, okay. My son will go to Monacan if we stay here.
Yes. Yep. So go Chiefs. And so I wasn't crazy about my last name, and I was like, I need a last name. And I loved Macklemore. I have a lot of pride in my family. My family is deeply rooted on both sides in Richmond, from Richmond. And so Macklemore was a bit mouthy. And I was like, what if I just drop off the MC and I'm Chelsea Lemore? And I became Chelsea Lemore, and I was like, I love it, because I felt like I stood out, but I still was able to carry my family with me. Yeah. Like people say Lemore, and when I was in college, my nickname was Extra.
It was Extra?
Extra. Everybody in the dorm called me Extra. Like, here comes Extra.
Wow.
So I was like, Lemore is like doing the most.
Okay.
And I'm always doing the most. And that's my family's name. And then when I got married, my real last name became Monroe.
Oh my goodness.
So I really am Chelsea Lemore Monroe.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you kind of have this princess type.
Really?
You kind of had a princess type idea,
I'll take it.
Yeah. You fancy.
I'll take it.
You fancy.
So I've been told.
Are you spoiled?
If you ask my wife, she will say yes.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things that my grandma told her, because I told you we got married 90 days after meeting each other. And she was like, well, I'm gonna just let you know, whatever Chelsea wants, she gonna get it. But I think the difference is that is true, but I'm also willing to work for it. Yeah. I did realize when I went to college that I would be what was considered spoiled. But as long as you are in high school and you're going to school with people who are like you, you don't seem spoiled. But I would say that, like, I work hard. My mom is a hairstylist. She's been an entrepreneur for over 30 years. I grew up in the hair salon, like shampooing hair. And that's one reason why I have like a love for like connecting with women. I've always been able, like, I made friends with my mom's customers who were like, I'm like 10 talking to 30-year-old women, like, and listening to Toni Braxton. Like, I was made for this. Okay. And so I'm a hard worker. It was instilled from like my family. We work hard. And so I may be spoiled, but I'm willing to put in the work too.
No, that's cool. That's cool. You clearly are putting the work. I don't think anyone can see you and not see effort and work ethic.
Thank you. That means a lot.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Because I'm like the person that beats myself up and feels like I'm not doing enough. Like I'm always like, I could have done this. I should have done this. I need to do more. I'm the person that I work in my office and then I'll take my laptop to the bed and like a few more emails. Like, if, in my opinion, I don't know. I just really think that like my upbringing in my mom's hair salon, it like was a blessing and a curse because my mom hasn't received a paycheck in 30 years, over 30 years. Anything that came into our home came from our hands working. And so my hands and my mind have to be working, or I have this like thing in my mind, like I need to make sure I stay ahead, you know? And so I don't have, and I'm not knocking 9 to 5 because she got one of those too. But I think that was what was early instilled in me. My mom didn't sugarcoat things. She's like, this is how much the mortgage is. We have this many clients coming in today. And I know you want to go to that skating party, but I need your help in the shop today. And that's how I was raised. Like me and my mom were shoulder to shoulder in that hair salon. So
well, it paid off. And shout out to your mom, because your mom, she did a good job at you. She did a good job.
Thank you.
Shout out to your mom. Shout out to the Lemores.
Thank you.
You know,
tell her you like my show because she's like, I can't listen to your show. I have to tell my friends that it's too much.
My mama don't listen to my show. My wife don't listen to my show sometimes, but yeah, nah.
My mom has learned a lot about me on my show.
My mom's like, I wish you stopped talking to them rappers so much.
Lord, my mom is, I'd rather take that than my mom found out that I liked women on my show.
Oh, that was it. Oh my God.
I'll never forget. It was the episode with Lonnie B. I had Lonnie B on the show. And Lonnie B, I'm supposed to be talking to him, and he was asking me more questions.
That's interesting.
And my mom listened to that show, and she was like, what? I never told her. In my mind, I kind of knew, like, the word's probably going to get around to her, and I didn't want to tell her myself, so it kind of worked out the way I wanted it to. But she found out that I liked women on the show.
Wow. Mm-hmm. If I may ask, I mean, has that always been something that you've known, or did it come out later in life?
I didn't start dating women until I am 30, proud to be 30. I didn't start dating women until I was like 26.
Okay.
25, 26.
Okay.
I've always
we just messed up. Did we just mess up?
What?
Did men just mess up? And
and that's the thing I want to say is that, like, can we quit the narrative that like women that like men that start dating women that they're scorned or they're so hurt that you can't make me like my thing is I hate ketchup. I don't care what you do. I'm not going to like ketchup. So you can't make me like women if that's not what I like. You know what I'm saying? So I've always been kind of like, I'm a free spirit, to be honest. I'm like, you know, I've always dated men. I'd always been like, I couldn't see myself in a relationship with a woman, but I mean, I could swerve over there from time to time. Mm-hmm. And I never did. And I think that also came with like growing and like really being comfortable with myself. That's when I began to explore or whatever. And even once I started dating women, I continued to date men. And I tell my wife all the time, I was like, I love you. You could have been a man, you could have been a woman, and this would have been our fate. But that was something that came later in life. And I'm happy for that for myself, because I can know that it was something that was genuine and comfortable to me. You know, I think sometimes when like younger people, which decide like to say, oh, I like girls, and they're like, oh, that you're going through a phase. But they have a little bit more respect for you when you're older and you're like, you know, I've lived and I've dated, and this is something I feel good and I feel comfortable with. So,
last question before I go to the closing piece. Could you do that show? I mean, 90 Days, you guys got married. You watched Married at First Sight. I watched that.
I just started watching Married at First Sight. I'm obsessed.
Yeah, I am too. I mean, it's interesting. It's interesting. I could not do that though. My wife said she could do it. I just
I could do it. I mean, I basically, and this is what's funny. A lot of people joke and say I was on 90 Day Fiance because my wife is actually from Belarus. She's not from here.
okay.
So interesting enough, I met my wife. She was on a date with another woman.
Where's that at? That sounds
I had to ask too. Belarus is I said I had to ask where that was too when I first met her. Because I was like, is it an island? That's gonna be a nice vacation.
Yeah.
But it's actually in Europe. It's between Russia and Turkey.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That sounds fancy with the Lemore and the Belarus and
That's my dog's name. We're just a fancy household.
That's your dog.
Meatless Monroe.
Wow. Well, so but you could do the show?
I could do Married at First Sight. To be honest with you, getting married so soon has been like one of the greatest adventures in my life thus far. It's been extremely rewarding. I mean, even my parents, so I was a little bit nervous to tell my mom that I was getting married. My parents met when they were like 15 and they were divorced by the time they were 30. But she was like, I knew your dad and dated him for over a decade and we still never been a divorce. Mm-hmm. How long you date someone doesn't mean that your marriage is going to last.
Yeah.
And if this is how you feel about it, I support it. Yeah. And every day is an adventure. We're always learning each other. But it's a great feeling to know that someone sees you and met you and it's like, yo, I fuck with you. Yeah. And as to me, it felt like I fuck with you and I see that you're a good person. And from there, I'm willing to learn and grow with the ebbs and flows that come with you and build with you. Yeah. And to know that like, I'm a security person, to know like I have my person that's not going to leave me. Yeah. That's, they rock with me and we can go through this thing together and I'm learning you and you're learning me is like the most amazing feeling ever.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's cool. That's cool. I think the two of you should do a show.
She finally told me that we could do a YouTube channel.
Okay. That'd be cool.
People have been asking us to do a YouTube channel. And I always find it interesting. She's like, people care about me. I'm like, I've been like studying something. I'm like, all of my posts that she's in, do the best. I like, at the end of the year, they have like your top 9.
Yeah.
8 of my 9 photos has something to do with her. And I said, if y'all don't like me, just say that.
People like to see love. That's the same thing with my wife and I on Facebook or my other, it's always the case. Or if you post a picture with your child or whatnot, for those, it's always that. So
I think love. Too, because, there's 2 things with that. As open as I am about my life and my relationship, one thing I'm very upfront and honest about, especially being in media, is like, I am not trying to be the Black Ellen DeGeneres. I am not the poster child for the Black lesbian.
Yeah.
I don't speak for the community. And that's another thing as far as like coming out, I guess you could say, at such a late age. I never have really felt a part of the community when people are like, sometimes when people talk about LGBTQ plus things, I'm like, oh shit, that's about me. Okay, well, what'd you say now?
Yeah.
I identify more. I mean, you can be Black and gay and you don't have to be more of, but I'm just saying that my community and like what I feel the most attached to is being Black.
I'm saying I'm with you, like I'm there. Like, no, one of my best friends, and there's people who are watching the show is gonna know who I'm talking about. Like she's first off, she don't even use the terms LGBTQ. She don't use those terms. She don't go to the parades. She don't feel accepted as much in those environments because she feel like they're very much commercialized. But she's been walking around in her skin, liking who she's like. You know what I'm saying?
And tell your friend she's not alone. I totally live that experience as well. Like I'll give you an example of like, my wife, one of her friends is gay. They're like a lesbian couple. And she was like, oh, we should go out. We should go to, and I was like, oh, where should we go? And she's like, oh, we should go to, and they're an interracial couple as well. And she's like, we should go to this place because the DJ is gay. And I was like, yeah, but is he whack? I don't give a damn who he's having sex with, what his sexuality is. I want to go where the music's popping.
Yeah.
like I don't want to like allow my sexuality to dictate where I go and who I hang out with. It's just a part of me. So I'm like, girl, I was looking at her like,
Hey, but you know what though? But we do oftentimes when it comes to our race and culture.
But because that's different. You know why? Because I don't care if I'm with my wife or not. I'm a Black woman. And especially, I think people sometimes like, with like wanting people that ask about me and my wife having a YouTube channel is, I do know that I am unassumingly bisexual or whatever people want to say. I don't look like a gay girl. Mm-hmm. And so when I am not with her, I am Chelsea, the Black girl. Mm-hmm. I can separate, that is an identity within itself. So I think that's why it's a little bit different. Like I say, like my experience is Black, not necessarily gay, because if I'm not with my wife, people don't know I'm gay. I can't take this off. Like this brown ain't going nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Got you. Okay. Now I'm following you. I mean, because you got some people who like their focus is I am a Black woman, and then I am a trans, or I'm this, or I'm, you know what I'm saying? Obviously you Black, you ain't got to ever speak for that, you know what I'm saying? But all right, Chelsea, I want to do something. I want to just randomly throw questions at you that I'm without thinking, and I just want you to answer without thinking. Okay. I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna say.
I don't know why I closed my eyes. Okay.
So I don't know what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna ask, pick a number between 1 and 12.
7.
All right, I'm gonna ask 7 questions, and I'm not surprised you picked 7. That's such a powerful number, obviously. So
I got married on the 7th, and I have a 7 tattoo.
Oh, okay.
We got tattoos before we got married. Wow. I was pressed like a panini. Okay.
All right, so I gotta make sure these 7 are like really good questions, because we're gonna want to get really good answers. Okay. Celebrity childhood crush.
Christopher Maurice Brown.
Dang, I never knew his middle name was Maurice.
Yes, Christopher Maurice Brown. You couldn't tell me, that I was not going to marry Chris Brown. And funny thing is, my aunt also, when I was younger, she worked at The Beat. And so she knew Chris Brown. And so one time it was Christmas Eve, I get a phone call and I hear, "Hey, niece, I have somebody that wants to speak to you." And it was Chris Brown. And he wished me a Merry Christmas. And I almost passed out. So if Chris Brown ever hears this, hey, boo.
Drawers was soaked.
Yeah. I mean, when I say like, I wasn't the girl who had like all of the posters all over the room. First of all, my mama won't finna buy all the posters, and you won't finna damage your walls. Okay. Mm-hmm. But when my mom loved Chris Brown too. So I had a Chris Brown room. Me and my mom would go to the Chris Brown concerts together. Mm-hmm. So Chris Brown was my childhood celebrity crush.
Okay. Give me your biggest high in radio.
I'm going to be honest. I haven't had it yet.
I mean, you can't pick. Okay, you haven't had your biggest, but you can't speak of a moment that's been like a woo-ha moment. Not yet. No. Mm-mm. Damn. Well, we can't count that then.
Well, the reason.
You can give. All right, we'll count. Well, you can give us an answer in regard to why you would say that, because I mean, you've had some wins, you've had some success. I'm sure you.
Yeah, I have.
I mean, did you go to the BET Awards?
No.
No. Okay, I figured you had one of those moments where you was like,
let me tell you, this is a moment of transparency, a moment of honesty, and a moment of so people can see what the fuck it really looked like.
Gotcha.
For a long time, I was the underdog at my station. I was fighting for every opportunity, big or small. Like, I didn't start out on air. I started out in sales. I interned at the radio station, but I worked in sales after college. And so anyone that works in radio will tell you it is nearly impossible to go from sales to on-air talent. And so from there, I always had to prove myself that, because I went to school, I have a communications degree with a concentration of radio and television broadcasting. So this is what I went to school for. But to get people to take you seriously.
Stun on them.
But I say that because up until I would say this podcast is what changed the trajectory for me. I'm just starting. The podcast is what changed things at the station for me, which is why I always tell people to invest in yourself and believe in yourself and create the brand for yourself and be an asset to where you want to go. But I had to fight tooth and nail for every little thing. Like, I mean, I've cried so many times because like I've been overlooked. I've been told no. I've been straight up disregarded. So I haven't reached that aha moment just yet.
Okay. All right.
I've done some cool things. I've done some really cool things.
Yeah.
But I haven't reached that like I've arrived.
Gotcha. Okay. So dang, I don't feel like this is a wasted question because it's just leading. It wasn't one of my planned questions, but so okay. So because that hasn't happened for you yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fair. All right.
For me, this is my personal opinion. Like, I think that one thing that's important to say with that too is I'm grateful for every opportunity. So like there's a radio girl coming up behind me that may say like, wow, when she did X, Y, and Z, that was really cool. Or when she interviewed this person, that was cool. But for me and the standards and the goals that I have, I haven't had that like,
okay. So this is my question. With your podcast, you have the creative freedom to pretty much talk about whatever you want, but with radio, obviously you can't. You have to talk about, you have to cater to certain times, and So at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I've had some radio experiences, but not like really professional FM experiences. I worked in advertising sales, kind of that, when I first came to Richmond, that's actually a part of what I did with Clear Channel so many years ago.
Oh yeah. Okay, cool.
But it's like, it's always been an interest, it's to me, it's flattering. It's exciting to be able to be on radio. I think we have to figure out like, what's the best radio for us, whether it's FM or independent or whatever the case is. Right. So my question for you is that, with your podcast being successful, which is creating opportunities for you that probably radio didn't, is it still, do you still have as much of a drive in radio and balancing both,
I do. Actually, I mean.
And why? I think it's more the why. If you do, then why?
I've never imagined myself doing anything other than radio.
Okay.
Like I've just never imagined myself like, radio, television, entertainment wise. I've never imagined myself doing anything else. The podcast has one reason that the podcast is like really special to me is because when I kept hearing no. And I was like, you know what? I read Charlemagne's book, Black Privilege. I closed that, but I went to Houston and I was reading it on the plane and I came back and I think less than a week later, I had my first episode out. And I was really about creating my own opportunity. And I was like, if they're not going to give me the opportunity, then there's so many other ways to go about this. I'm just going to start my own. Yeah. And I didn't think that starting my own podcast would parlay into them finally letting me be on there. Because by episode 2, they offered me a job. But the podcast has created the industry has shifted so much. Like social media has changed so much. And so your Instagram and your content is almost like your living, breathing resume. And so Single in the City has been able to open doors. And like, I've had calls from different stations and different PDs because they've heard my podcast. And so when I wasn't able to get on air and I wasn't able to get those shifts or I was on the, are you ready for this 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. shift? Okay. Playing your girl. My podcast was what carried me through, was what got my name into rooms. And so they now PDs are looking for these like perfectly already built brands. These like they're looking for, there's so many girls that do reality shows and then they turn out with a radio show. Duchess from Black Ink, Delicious had a show in Detroit. And these are people that already have followers, already have some type of content. They're looking for somebody that they can plug and play. Okay. So I see my podcast as something that brings me money, is my brand and what I own, because even with COVID, so many radio personalities were fired and furloughed. And then once you don't have the radio station, what do you have?
Exactly.
Who are you? Like so many people attach their worth and their entire work to the station. But what do you have that is yours? That if Radio One threw me the deuces today, I can still eat.
Yeah.
I still have a way to get to have a direct connection to my listeners. So that's how they work hand in hand.
Gotcha.
And a bitch like benefits. Okay.
Okay. All right. So you leave me with 4 questions. You leave me with 4 questions. What you sipping over there?
Water.
Oh, okay.
Water.
We have a sponsor for today. Is they're not a paid sponsor, but it's James and Pepper.
Okay.
It's the house bourbon for me.
Ooh, okay.
Try it out. It's really good, James. If you're a bourbon Scotch.
Look, it ain't always all about paid sponsors.
No, it ain't. But I have to say though, I got a good one this year though. I'm really happy about it. Let me brag. I got a good one this year. And the thing about it that makes it even better is that I don't even speak. I'm not even gonna speak about it right now, but basically they fund me well.
Mm-hmm.
And they absolutely have no involvement. They don't want anything. Because in return, I give them consulting.
Love a good trade.
Yeah,
love
it's
trade.
like a trade-off. It's like, look, we're gonna fund your show. We're gonna fund you. We believe in you. In return, give us your knowledge and give us, sign a contract with them.
What you're giving them is invaluable, and they know that.
Yeah, that's been great. And it's in the information I'm giving them is all about mental health. Has nothing to do with this.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, got 4 more questions. I'm not going to hold you much longer here. So
you're good. I'm having a good time.
Great. I'm glad you are. And hey, shout out to all the single and city folks who are listening to the show. Great to have you.
Hey, single circle.
Yeah. You got what do you call your folks? Like you got a hive or something?
My wife asked me that the other day. She said, if you had to call, what do you call your listeners?
Citizens are single in the city.
I always say single circle.
Single circle. Okay.
I always say single circle. So like when a girl gets engaged, I'm like, another woman has transcended out of the circle.
Oh man.
But I always just say single circle.
Got you. Nah, I like it. And I really believe that I think that you should do something intentional to try to get men wearing your merch. Because I think as a result of that, it gets men to be honest. See, we ain't typically honest about our that part of our life.
Mm-hmm. I did. Okay. I probably shouldn't say this, but I am because it's already in the works. So whatever.
What's that?
So remember at the beginning of the podcast, we had the conversation about not necessarily feeling like, Black women feeling like, we don't know if our Black men, like we walk into a space, we don't know if they're interested in the sisters.
Yeah.
So my wife is not Black. When I met her, I didn't know if she was Black or not. She's actually a gypsy. She's actually gypsy, but I didn't know if she was biracial because she got the locks. I was like, I don't know, you just fine. And I don't give a fuck about this bitch you here with, okay? Because you're leaving with me. But we were talking and we were like, Black women, we want to we know that there are Black men that love Black women. And so we were like, we should create a shirt for men to wear that say Black women only. I'm here for the sisters.
Yeah, you should.
So we have that coming. We have that coming in less than 30 days. So I'm super excited. It's like you heard it here first. Exclusive.
For sure. I'm definitely getting me one of those.
Yes, Black women only.
I'm gonna get me one of those. I feel comfortable wearing that one.
I'm giving you one.
Thank you. I'm gonna wear that on the show. I'm gonna wear it proudly too. Look, yes. Like I said, back when I was out in them streets, I remember when I first came to Richmond. She was Lebanese.
Where are you from?
I'm from North Carolina, but when I different places. I just tell folks I'm from Charlotte because I grew up a little bit north of Charlotte. But when I came to Richmond,
we're in Laurinburg. We're in Laurinburg.
No, north like off 77. Like okay. I'm in. You familiar with the area?
Uh-huh.
I know where Laurinburg is.
I had a few teens back in the day.
Oh, okay. We're gonna leave them skeletons down there, though. We're not gonna bring that up. We're not gonna bring that up.
No.
But when I came here from the opposite side of the state because I went to a small school in Southwest Virginia called Emory and Henry College.
My cousin went there.
Who's your cousin?
She's younger than me. She graduated. She's still in law school, so she's like 23.
What's her name?
Alexandria Pollard. She played basketball.
She played basketball. She got long hair.
She used to wear braids.
She live in Richmond. It's only so many people that play basketball. I know who you're talking about. That's your cousin. He's 23.
She lives in Chicago now, so we might be talking about somebody else.
I know exactly who you're talking about. And the reason why is because look, first off, it's not a lot of black people that go to Emory here.
I noticed from the pictures.
That's one. Two, she was pretty easy to look at. Okay.
I mean, she's related to me.
Obviously, she's a Lemore. But three, I played basketball there.
Oh, so yeah.
I kind of have that connection and knowing if you play the basketball and you and Emory Henry and you're black, you kind of in your own little fraternity in yourself. Right. You know? Yeah, so I know who she is.
It's a not so secret society.
Yeah, I don't know her personally, but I know who she is.
Okay, cool.
But so that's how I ended up here because I went to grad school here.
Okay.
And then you know how it goes. You get married and
get comfortable instead.
Yeah. So oh, I know it's good. So look, we've went through COVID, pandemic, what kind of life did your food choice lifestyle, did it change? Like, did you go from eating bacon and pork chops to I'm vegan and vegetarian? Like everybody, this is what's happening right now. Like people don't eat fast food. Did you have some life-changing experience in 2021, 2020, where you decided to say, I'm not going to eat meat anymore? You was raised on hog maw, pork chops, chitlins, and pig feet.
You don't. I will say I'm a person that I've always, my weight has always gone up and down. Like I'm super conscious about my body or self-conscious about my body at times. So I'll drop 30 pounds and then I gain 50 pounds. Like I'm that person. So I'm always kind of playing with my diet. And so getting married, I got married February 7th. And then
you own some right now. You own one though. Right now though.
Look, okay. She's coming through. I mean, I will say that COVID.
Kudos, bro, hey. I'm not trying to take cheat abstain, but it's obvious. It's obvious that you are
really?
You're transforming.
Thank you. I needed that because, weight loss for a woman, I don't know about men. I can't speak for a man's experience after 30 has been extremely challenging. And so I'm the person that I know all the tricks to what I need to eat, how I need to work out to lose the weight. And so it wasn't really coming off. And also not to be men get all grossed out, but a lot of Black women suffer from fibroids. And I found out over COVID that I have fibroids. Okay. And fibroids are hormonal and they affect your weight loss. Yep. So it almost at times can be an emotional thing because I feel like my body is fighting back, so I really appreciate that you're seeing the change because I just literally before I came downstairs, I was I look huge. And so my wife was
and I'll be honest with you. I'm brutally honest about those things. I'm very conscious of those things. I'm not the type of friend to tell someone that something looks good if it don't. I would have, if I didn't feel that it was worth saying, I would have just not said anything at all.
Well, I appreciate that.
No, I think that it has to be said because it gives people reinforcement. You can tell that I look at you and I say she's had goals because now as a result of it, you have transformed your body. That ain't just happening today. That's been a process,
Yes.
It's been, diamonds start as pieces of coal that goes through lots of heat, it's
yes,
lots of pushing.
And shout out to my trainer. My trainer, her name is LaJoy. We worked together when I was she had already graduated, but I was in college at Mama J's. We worked together at Mama J's. And when we were at Mama J's, she was just getting into her fitness journey. And now she's a trainer and she's been instrumental into helping me lose weight. And more than the weight, it's the mentality that comes with changing my diet and things like that. Because I also am the person look, I'm not about to do no diet that I can't keep up, that doesn't fit my lifestyle. I know that food and having alcohol is a part of, I don't want to totally deprive myself of things. If it means that I'll lose the weight slower, but it's something that I can maintain, I will do it. But I'm not about to stop eating bread. I ain't having drinks. I can't have salt. I'm carrying around seasonings in my purse. Cause I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. But she's been really instrumental in that. But as far as my diet is concerned, my fibroid kind of adjusted that for me because my doctor told me I could take medication to reduce the size of it, but there's also things that you can do naturally. And so this was the first time ever in my life where I was not trying to take the quick route. Yeah. And I was okay. So I kind of reduced some of the red meat, exercising. It's interesting because now I find myself really exercising for health as opposed to vanity.
Yeah.
So I have a different approach.
Growing up. You're growing up.
But we do Meatless Mondays in my house.
What's that?
Meatless Mondays.
Meatless Monday. I mean, hey, you got to start somewhere, I guess. Yeah. I mean, I stopped eating meat for about 3 months one time, and I started having really bad headaches. And I was like, I'm obviously something. If meat's so bad, okay, whatever. I eat fish. Don't get me wrong. I was eating fish.
Yeah.
But, fish are dumb. They don't count.
So I was a vegetarian for a year before.
Oh, you was?
A couple years ago.
Tried some things.
Yeah, I've tried pescatarian. I've dabbled in. I'm not quite ready to commit to vegan, but like I'll do like a vegan Monday or something.
Vegans can't eat eggs, can they?
No.
See, I couldn't do vegan.
No animal product.
I could do vegetarian if I could figure out how to supplement, but I couldn't do vegan because I like eggs.
It's too much that goes into vegan. Like you can't use sauces, a lot of sauces and stuff. But Meatless Mondays, and that's what the diet change has been. And I've been addicted to kettle corn.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yes, I love kettle corn.
Oh gosh, I try to stay like I don't even see why kettle corn would be bad though. It's popcorn. That's like
but it's loaded with butter and sugar.
Oh, okay. There you go. All right.
It's nothing but butter and sugar. And there's this place near my house called Uncle Dave's Kettle Corn.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
All right. You have to put me on that then. My wife's a big kettle corn person. All right.
I will ship you some.
Ship? Dang. Is it that? Are we social distancing that bad?
I can give you some. I'm gonna get a bag for her and a bag for me.
I got you.
I just want an excuse to go in the store.
Okay. All right. Look, I got 3 more questions for you. Want to make sure I get the right ones. We're gonna do it right on 7. So, well, let me ask you this. What can you give us something well, you kind of already did. You already told us about the new merch coming. Is there anything special that you could tell us that we can expect to see from you in 2021 that you haven't already?
Oh, yes. You can expect celebrity guests.
Clubhouse, is Clubhouse contributing to your platform right now with the folks that you're bringing on?
Not with the people that I'm bringing on.
No.
Clubhouse, I was on Clubhouse when I first started, but I was just talking to someone, the guy that handles all my business in like money wise, and I was like, it's just kind of like died off a little bit.
Yeah, me too. I go on every now and then. I was hooked. Like I was on there every day.
My wife was so annoyed with Clubhouse.
My mom hated it. Yeah.
I loved it. It's a podcaster's dream.
Yeah.
Right. And it's especially like a woman who's about media. Like I'm a millennial. So I'm like in between that. Like, I'm gonna be honest. I care about social media for my job, but I don't really care about social media. Like, and so now the industry is so social media heavy and what kind of pictures you post and all the likes and shit. So it was good to get on a platform where what you had to say really mattered. Not what you look like, not that I got to get on live and put my wig on and put some makeup on. Like what I'm saying out of my mouth is what is contributing to this. So I mean, RIP to Clubhouse.
You know what surprises me, Chelsea?
Mm-hmm.
It surprises me that with social media that like media platforms like iPower, respectfully, or ESPN Radio. I've been paying attention and praise. I look at these social media platforms, right? And to your credit, why you said like it's like radio platforms look to identify with platforms that are already established, because people in the city that we know that we could reference their names, we won't do that right now, but you can see more market traffic on social media platforms with folks who are in the know, such as yourself, than you can see with a mainstream local radio station. Social media. Yeah. Now, I recognize that the radio channel is getting its attention. It's got ears to it, but to me, it don't translate over well to digital, to social media.
Right.
I mean, if I look at the iPower radio,
it's hard. I mean,
respectfully, let's not talk about iPower because I don't want to. Let's talk about one.
Oh well, you already named all our stations.
Huh? I mean, but I don't even mean them.
I know. I mean, to be honest, the only stations that it really, I guess you could say, kind of works for is if you are in those top 5 to 10 market sizes. And the big thing with social media is creating original content. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to do that. And so a lot of stations aren't necessarily creating original content. They're just reposting things. And so
I'll give it praise. To me seems to be the one that has the most attention. Am I right with that?
I mean, yeah, well, the church ladies don't play. Okay.
Yeah, they're gonna support.
They're gonna support. And they're a lot of times an older audience, and a lot of times older audiences are more loyal.
Yeah.
There's that brand loyalty to praise. Like even when I worked in sales, praise digitally did extremely well. And the church community is a call and response type of community. You tell them what you need them to do, they're going to do it. And they also don't have too many things super serving their needs. So when they have something, they show up in droves because everything isn't really accommodated to them. There may be 1 or 2 events a year that accommodate to that audience.
Yeah.
So they're highly responsive because of that.
Yeah. Okay. Giving you guys some perspective. I've been paying attention to that, and you got some background that you can actually add some color to that. So I appreciate that. All right, last 2. First off, give us all the information that we need to know in regard to how our audience can get more acquainted with Single in the City, where they can follow you. Yes. Give them everything they need to know in your elevator pitch, please.
We are my elevator pitch. Well, Single in the City, like I said earlier.
Sell that single in this. I mean, not single.
Well, sex sells itself. No, I'm joking.
Sell it all. Sell whatever you're willing to sell.
Well, Single in the City, like I said earlier, is a podcast about relationships and surviving single from the lens of African Americans. We have men on the show, so I can't wait for you to come on our show.
Hey, I will definitely come on your show.
Super. Okay, I'm gonna set that up.
Bring a very old, dirty man perspective to it.
I can't wait to set that up. But Single in the City is about community. Single in the City is about like honest conversation and just growth. You know, it's my baby. And so it's my pride and joy. And it's like the jewel of my heart. And it's something that I have been able to connect other women. And I have couples that I've met on the show.
Wow.
I have dated someone that I met on the show. But Single in the City, you can listen to it on all platforms. It's something that if you want a good laugh, put your AirPods in and no children around. Please check it out. You can follow me at Chelsea Lemore. Not Lemore Monroe. That's Lemore. You can go to my website if you would like to be a guest. You can go to chelsealemore.com, click the Single in the City tab, and submit a be a guest request. I would love to hear from you. Love to talk to you. But yeah, that's Single in the City. I mean, with COVID, we haven't been able to do events and stuff. And I'm, to be honest, like virtually, I was like not really mentally in that space to create virtual events at the time. But I'm looking forward to getting back out there. I mean, just follow us. We got some exciting things. I'm trying not to let everything out.
Yeah, listen, she said it. chelsealemore.com. You can go over there. You can see what's going on in Lemore land. I mean, you can already, I mean, she brings so much personality and color to conversation. Go over there and shop. You can book her. Just become more aware of what she's got going on.
Yes.
The real on relationships and surviving single. And I think that's the thing about it that I like. It's not just about being single. You know, it also brings conversation and perspective to relationships and you old married folk as well. Thank you again. I shameless plug before we close the show. Please, do you have any recommendations for folks that you feel like would be great guests on my show?
I do, actually.
Great. I'm interested in hearing those. If you want to speak them publicly, feel free. If not,
yes, because this person has a podcast.
Who's that?
My brother.
What's his name?
My brother has 2 podcasts. My brother goes by Corey Cambridge. but he's from Richmond. He lived in New York for a while. He has one podcast called Silent Giants where he interviews the superstars behind your favorite superstars. Okay. So that could be Rihanna's stylist, Nicki Minaj's graphic designer for the Pink Print album, Michael Jackson's producer of the Thriller album. All of these really cool people, DJ Clark Kent, people that work behind the scenes that propel your favorite superstars, he interviews them. Okay. Cool. The director of Lil Nas X video, Old Town Road video, just really interesting people that you wouldn't necessarily think about, you know. He has that podcast, and he also has another podcast called OPP, Other People's Podcast, where he interviews other podcasters about their podcast.
That's cool.
He's also a podcast producer. He's a producer of Jalen Rose's podcast.
Oh my goodness, it's in his blood.
Yeah, like when I tell you, my family, we talk. We are talkers, okay?
I mean, that's where it all started, in the basement, around the table, you know, playing cards,
cracking crabs. I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's super cool. No, definitely, I would definitely be interested in talking.
And I'll definitely connect those dots. He would love to.
Great. I appreciate you being on the show. It's been great conversation. Look forward to seeing you outside very soon.
I'm about to pop out. I'm tired of being in the house. I
am too. I'm about to pop out, like literally right. I'm about to go home, Charlotte, this weekend tomorrow. I need to get away.
Yes. I already ordered my outside wig, so y'all finna see me whether you like it or not. Okay.
Yeah. Outside wig? Oh, okay. Hold on.
Because I'm stepping out. I got a whole new wig for outside.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to see you out. Can't wait to see you continue to do this transformation. Be careful. Be careful. Don't lose too much weight.
Be careful.
Don't lose too much weight.
No. I mean, I've also
say that because, like, you know what? Like, I understand. I believe in healthy, and I believe in fitness, and I recognize. But you know what, though? Like, when you get from the outside looking in, we need to be comfortable with ourselves first, number one. But just let me be careful and make sure I say it the right way. Don't lose all the good things that God has blessed you with. You know what I'm saying? Because I'll be honest with you, sometimes I see that happen. I see people, they're so focused on this transformation and their whole desire is to get skinny, and they have no ass, they have no hem. You know what I'm saying? They get
right. All I want is a flat stomach. Okay.
That's it.
That's it. Like, or something that resembles a flat stomach.
As long as your flat stomach don't cost your ass.
Look, that's why I've been considering lipo. Okay.
Well, you're gonna do it right. And I believe that if you don't figure it out one way or the other, you have a beautiful wife that's gonna make sure that y'all get this thing done together.
We've been doing it together, so it's been amazing.
Good. It's a blessing to have you on the show. Thank you, Chelsea.
Thank you.